Oh, hi Laura. Good. It's always good when somebody comments and then I know that you can actually hear me. So I'm glad that you can hear me. So the reason why I picked weight gain in lockdown as a subject that I was going to talk about tonight is because you might have seen I did a post last week and it was about muffin tops in lockdown. And basically, I was sharing the fact that I have gained weight in lockdown. Now, I don't weigh myself, so I've no idea how much I've gained, but I can feel it in my clothes and I can feel kind of the discomfort of it. So I've kind of done a little post that was about saying, look, this happens to all of us and it's completely normal. But even with the work that I do and the experience that I have, that even, for myself, the feeling of the weight gain, that my initial and my immediate reaction was disgust. And I had to really work with myself and my own kind of little inner voice to turn it around into having some compassion for myself. But I suppose the reaction, because that post got, I think, nearly 100 likes and loads of engagement with it. And everybody was basically coming on to say, yes, I've gained weight too. Yes, I've got one of those muffin tops. And there was also loads of comments about kind of the self-loathing and the disgust that goes along with it. And I suppose what I was kind of thinking then over the last couple of days was like how we are so critical of ourselves, and why, I suppose the question that was kind of running around in my head is, why has it become so completely unacceptable and socially unacceptable to gain weight? Because like our bodies are just doing the best that they can for us, and our bodies are only responding to what we do. So our bodies aren't fighting against us. They don't have it in for us. They're not trying to sabotage us on purpose. Our bodies are literally doing the best that they possibly can to look after us and keep us alive and to help us recover from illness and all sorts. Our bodies are absolutely amazing when you actually think about what they do for us. So when we gain weight, they're only responding to whatever it is that we happen to be doing. And now with lockdown, we've all been in lockdown now for 4 months. Can't actually believe that it has been 4 months. But if you think about what we have been through, all of us together over the last 4 months, it's really understandable that we have gained weight. We've been pretty much captive. We've been stuck in our homes. We've had so much stress. We've had so much uncertainty. Our gyms have been closed. We maybe haven't been as physically active as what we normally would be. So actually, I would be more surprised if somebody was to say to me that they hadn't gained weight. So what I find really interesting is that when we're all in the same position, we've all maybe gained a few pounds, which is totally understandable given the circumstances that we've been in. Why do we use it as a big stick to beat ourselves with? So for those of you who are listening, what I would love to hear from you is kind of what has been your experience of lockdown in terms of your diet, in terms of your weight. Have you gained weight? And if so, how do you maybe feel about yourself and about the fact that has happened? Because I think that these are the kind of conversations that probably we need to have more of, because what tends to happen is we gain weight, we feel uncomfortable within our clothes, we feel that our clothes are tighter, and we immediately then jump into, I've got to lose weight, I'm disgusting and I hate this and I'm so uncomfortable and I'm so fat and I'm this and I'm that. And we jump into then diets. And we know diets don't work. So there has to be a better way of dealing with this. There has to be a better way of managing our health and managing our weight that doesn't involve on jumping on dieting bandwagons. And something I suppose that I am still conscious of myself, still working on myself, is how can I accept the body that I am in as it is now, even if it is a few pounds more or whatever than what it normally would be, how can I learn to accept this body that I'm in now and love this body that I'm in now, even if I still have an intention or a goal of losing weight. And I think that people believe that body acceptance and body love means that you have to just embrace everything about yourself and love everything about yourself and everything is hunky-dory. And it's I know that isn't easy, but body acceptance is just about how do I start to have a little bit of compassion for myself and speak more positively about myself and try to work with what I've got. Because at the end of the day, we're all different shapes and sizes, and we only have one body. And aside from your body kind of going up a few pounds or down a few pounds, your body shape is pretty much going to stay as is. So we're wasting our time when we're looking at other images on social media and we're looking at other people, or we're aspiring to have other people's physiques, or we're getting jealous of how other people look or how skinny we think other people are, and we're never ever going to have that physique because I have my unique build and they have their unique build. So how can we learn to actually just embrace and work and accept with what we have, even if we are still on a weight loss journey? So please let me know. I don't know if the comments have frozen or not, but please let me know yourself, like what your own struggles are with maybe how you perceive your body and how you feel about your body. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you, I guess, from that post that I did last week about the muffin tops and about my kind of initial gut reaction to it, what I then have tried to focus on and do this week. So like I said earlier, so it was a hot day. So number one, it was a hot day, and sometimes when you're hot, you maybe feel a wee bit more sweaty and a wee bit more sticky and just a wee bit more uncomfortable, I guess, in your skin anyway. I was wearing a pair of trousers that are quite tight-waisted, and they were sort of cutting in around the waist, and I was outside, it was a lovely sunny day, and I sat down and basically I felt my stomach, my muffin top, kind of spilt over the top of my trousers, and I felt it kind of resting on my lap. And my initial reaction was just like, I actually grabbed my stomach, and was kind of like, oh, for fuck's sake, and a bit disgusted at myself. And the initial reaction is, oh, I need to get rid of this. This is horrible. And it feels uncomfortable sitting here, and it feels uncomfortable with my skin like this. And it took me a wee while to kind of catch myself on, to recognise what I was doing, to recognise the way in which I was speaking to myself. And I was able to start having a bit of compassion for myself, that actually it's been a really difficult 4 months. I haven't been active. I lost interest in workouts, and I had no interest in doing online workouts. So actually having a bit of compassion for myself, that it's okay. But I did recognise that probably I need to refocus on building kind of healthier habits. So it has given me a bit of a focus around what kind of things have maybe slipped for me that I used to be quite good at and that I haven't really been maintaining. So that's kind of things like the staying up much later, the not setting my alarm in the morning, the not drinking water, the opening the wine too often, all those kind of little habits that have crept in. I have started to look at those and try to kind of filter them out again. But probably the most important thing that I made the decision that I was going to do was that I wasn't going to beat myself up about the fact that I had gained weight, and I was going to do whatever I could to make myself feel more comfortable in my skin right now. So what I did was I got myself proper fitting bigger knickers because I have gained weight and I was wearing knickers that were too small and were cutting my circulation off. And that's never going to feel good. So if you have gained a little bit of weight and you're walking around in clothes that maybe feel too tight or they feel uncomfortable, that is really going to impact how you feel in terms of your weight. And your clothing. And this is where I'm really hoping that the getting the personal stylist in to talk about this is going to be so important, because the clothes that you wear make a huge difference about how you feel in your skin and how you feel in your body. So the fact that I was wearing knickers that were too small, that were cutting into me, and I was wearing trousers that were tight-waisted and that were cutting into me, were making me feel much bigger than I actually can, because it's restricting me and it's making me feel uncomfortable. So I went up a size in pants, and I also went online and ordered some pretty little dresses, floral little dresses, smock style, that kind of cut in at the waist and then they kind of layer out, so they're nice and they're loose and they're uncomfortable, or they're comfortable. So the reason why I did those two things is because I recognised that actually, because I've been pretty much in lockdown, and although it's easing, I'm still working from home, that I have basically become a sloth in lockdown, and things that I would never consider to be acceptable before are now have been acceptable to me. So they're just living in trackies, they're not putting on makeup and all these kind of things. And all of those kind of things were feeding into this not looking after myself and not taking care of myself. So the decision that I made last week when I sat down and felt uncomfortable is, I'm not going to beat myself up, but I'm going to focus on making the best of feeling my best even if I'm still in lockdown. So the pretty smock dress was bought, and the pretty new pants that actually fit my body now, so that I feel comfortable, and those things will actually make me feel more comfortable and more like myself, really. So what I want you to have a little think about is, in lockdown, what kind of things maybe have you lost focus on? What kind of things are you maybe doing that you wouldn't have ever been doing before? In what ways have you maybe taken the eye off the ball with regards to your own wellness and your own self-care? Because let's face it, it's been really easy for things just to slip and fall to the wayside. But now, I guess, is the opportunity to look at what kind of things can I start to maybe refocus on from a compassionate point of view. So I'm just going to I can see, Laura, you have made a little comment. You were distraught with the great weather and not looking like I wanted in summer clothes, and went on self-sabotage and ate and drank more. Yeah. And and this is what we do when we feel really uncomfortable, when we are attacking ourselves, when we are criticizing ourselves. What that tends to feed into, that inner criticism tends to feed into more sabotaging kind of behaviours. And this is why the work that I will always do is very much about how do we come from a place of compassion and kindness for ourselves. Because let's face it, we don't do these things just for the sake of it and just for, the hell of it. We don't intentionally gain weight just for the crack. Our body is just doing what it's naturally designed to do. And if we then go on that kind of sabotage cycle of beating ourselves up and then comforting ourselves, we're only making the situation worse. So how can we take a step back, look at what we're doing, looking at the habits that we're in, looking at the behaviours and the patterns that we're falling into, and how can we make a decision to look at maybe areas that need our attention, but not from that kind of all or nothing deprivation or punishment point of view. How can we do it from a place of kind of compassion and wellness? So, me doing things like buying new clothes that fit me now, that are pretty, that are feminine, that will make me feel good, will help me to, I guess, become more active and more engaged in more self-care routines. And I think it was a Facebook Live last week, and it was from a fabulous lady called Nuala, who I'm hoping is going to come in to this group and do a live. And she's a personal stylist, and she was basically talking about how people's standards in terms of self-care and presentation in lockdown have just totally, gone through the floor, and that people are showing up for Zoom meetings and calls and things like that, and they're not presenting themselves in the best way. And I had to give myself a big slap on the face, because that really has been me in lockdown. That I loved initially the fact that I could wear trackies every day and it was brilliant, but when you're wearing the same trackie for like day 3 and you're being a bit of a minger and a brush isn't going through your hair and there's days when you're not even showering, that is not good. That is not good. But that became acceptable to me, and that became a norm to me. And then I was showing up on Zoom sessions, or showing up on Facebook Lives, and presenting myself in a way that I would never ever do prior to lockdown. So I suppose the point that I'm getting at here is that it's not so much about, you're not doing this for other people, that you're doing this for yourself. So even if you are still on lockdown, even if you are working from home, are you still showing up even for yourself in the best way that you can? So please, again, let me know, how are you maintaining your self-care and your routines in lockdown? Are you still getting up and showering and putting on work clothes each day? Are you putting on makeup every day, even if you're not going out anywhere? What are you doing, I suppose, to make yourself feel as good as you possibly can, even if you're still in lockdown? So this week my gym reopened, so I've made a commitment to myself that I'm going to go back to the gym 3 times a week. But what I would normally do is, even after going to the gym, the activewear would be staying on me, and I'll see whether I'm going to get dressed into something else or not. I've made the commitment with myself that actually after the gym, shower home and get nice, get the nice pretty dress on, get the makeup on my face, and show up for myself how I want to feel, and to feel my best self. So the purpose of that wee ramble was basically just to get you to have a little think about your experience of lockdown, to think about what has really changed for you in terms of your habits, in terms of your eating habits, in terms of your routines, what has maybe fallen to the wayside. And I'm sure there's probably a few things that have fallen to the wayside, and that is completely okay. But start to think about, how could I put my energy and put my attention into maybe 1 or 2 of these areas that I'd like to improve, and just focus on those. Don't jump straight into detoxing, don't jump straight into dieting, don't jump into extremes of anything. Just pick 1 or 2 aspects that have maybe slipped for you, and I would say focus on the basics. Are you getting 7 to 8 hours sleep a night? Are you drinking enough water each day? Are you having 3 kind of balanced meals? Are you eating enough protein? So just looking at those kind of basics. And are you engaging still in self-care activities? And I know that that's really difficult if the kids are around and there's a lot going on. But just ask yourself those questions. Are you doing those things consistently? How much have they maybe changed or fallen by the wayside? And what 1 or 2 areas could you refocus on kind of going forward? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the feedback from you guys, and each week I'm going to just cover a specific area, whether it be on nutrition, whether it be on weight loss, whether it be on stress, on sleep, whatever it is. I'll cover a different topic each week based on the kind of what you're looking for, the kind of feedback that you give me, and I'll try and provide as much value and information for you as I possibly can. But if you have So if you have any questions or you have any comments on tonight's session, please do let me know. If you're watching on replay as well, I would love to hear from you, particularly probably from more of the body image perspective. You know, how do you maybe feel about, you know, the fact that you possibly have gained some weight in lockdown? How do you feel about your body? What are the struggles that you have when it comes to feeling comfortable in your own skin? How do you kind of talk to yourself? What are the kind of comments that you have about yourself and about your body? And, you know, let me know, because the more you give me information, the more I know how to tailor the videos that I'll do going forward, and try and provide you with some really practical advice. So probably my number one takeaway from tonight is make sure you're wearing clothes that fit you now, that are flattering, but that they are also comfortable. Don't walk about in clothes that are too small for you and that are too tight, because they will make you feel like you're much bigger than you actually are. And I had that experience, and that was my little wisdom of this week, that get the knickers that fit and you'll feel so much better. Just quick comment from, thank you. Make the commitment. Okay, so Rachel, you're going to make the commitment of doing your HIIT in the morning that you used to do at the beginning of lockdown. That's brilliant. And see, I always find when it comes to like habits and making changes, that if you can pick one thing that's realistic for you, and what you've done there is brilliant, that you're doing it at the start of the day. If you pick a good healthy habit to do at the start of the day, that is much more likely to impact and have a knock-on effect of what you do then the rest of the day. You're much more likely to maybe eat better, drink more water, and have those kind of knock-on effects. So, you know, what you've done there is fantastic. So, you know, find that one area, that one habit, that one focus that you want to do, and really embed that before you even think about going on to anything else. So well done, that's brilliant. So I will hang on for one more little minute just to see if there are any questions or any comments that you have that I can answer for you now. And hopefully, I'm conscious that whenever I do Facebook Lives, I get a wee bit nervous and then I start talking very quickly. And I'm a bit of a mumbler anyway, so I hope that you actually were able to keep up with what I was saying, keep up with my rambles, and that it did actually make sense to you. So I'll hold on just for another, I don't think there's any more comments, but I'll hang on just for another wee minute just to double check. Even if I miss it, I can come back later. So I think that is us. So any other comments, any other questions, anything that you would really love for me to comment going forward, any advice on water? I'm so thirsty. I'm nearly 3 litres or more. Okay. So you're already drinking a lot of water. So I would say maybe do a little double check of your diet. Are you eating, well, number one, are you eating things that would make you thirsty, i.e. a lot of salty foods? Is there a lot of salt in your diet? Or are you eating a lot of sugar? Because sometimes if your blood sugars are a bit skewiff, that you might be craving and feeling more thirsty, because certainly the quantities that you're drinking there seems to be good. So you can send me a wee private message if you want to, Laura, but generally I would say look at the diet then. Is there high salt content or a high sugar content? Because those two things might be making you feel more thirsty. You love listening to me, but you have to say that, Paulette, don't you? Alright, so thank you so much for staying tuned. That's the first Hump Day Live done. So looking forward to doing them now every Wednesday. So every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Please shoot me any questions, any feedback, any comments that you have, and I'll get back to you. Alright, so take care everybody. Bye.